in, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. We got everybody in the house today. How's it going, guys?
Not bad. How's everybody else?
Good.
Doing good.
Mariners lost. Astros won. 1 game back. Bo, I'm on your tail, baby.
Hey, the whole division. The whole division is right there, man. I mean, I would say, 4 of the 5 are within a game of each other.
Yeah, we actually brought up our guy out of Sugarland AAA, Corbin Gordon, and he gave up like 3 runs. He was okay, but it seems like the Astros are because we got so many damn pitchers injured, we're having to call up a lot of our AAA guys to fill in and pitch in the rotation. And the fact that we're only 1 game back is blowing my mind, given the amount of rookies that we're playing at the pitching spot.
Well, got ya. But there's a lot to be said for that. Ed Bo had it all said right there. His team sucks.
I mean, it's the same roller coaster ride we're always on.
It's like when you go to the same theme park over and over again for 5 years. Eventually, you get there and it's like, oh, I've done this before. Oh, I've done this before. This is nothing new.
It's true. You can only ride the Texas Cyclone so many times.
I didn't realize I messed a piece of this up. So we actually do have Travis going to come play with us today as well. But it appears as though I forgot to send him the link. So that's on me. So Travis, I will send it to you here in just a second.
Oh.
So that way we can hear a little bit about Jaguars mini camp and stuff.
Oh,
wow!
The Jaguars actually still have a team.
Oh yeah.
You're killing them, Pags. Come on.
Yeah, they're called the London Jaguars. Don't you remember?
Oh.
Or they're soon to be called the Daytona Jaguars.
He's going to be like, you know what? Never mind. I'm not coming on this show.
The Daytona Manatees.
Yeah, they're not going to be called
the Jaguars
anymore. They're going to be having to say something else. I don't know what county Daytona's in, but
it's Khan, right? The guy that owns AEW. He's the owner of the Jaguars. Am I correct on that? He's the owner for them. Tony Khan or something like that. Is he the owner of the Jaguars?
Yeah,
Amir Khan or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was supposed to go and
related to Shaka
Jacksonville. And
I just like that Travis is immediately shaking his head. Here we go. How's it going, man?
Daytona is in Volusia County.
There you go.
Just in case there's
Volusia.
Volusia. No.
That just sounds so Greek.
It's gross. Yeah, it's gross. No. I'm hoping it ends up being Orlando Gainesville. I just don't want to deal with that local traffic to have to play there. So we'll see what happens with that whole 2027 stuff. But
what's going on down there in Jacksonville? Tony Khan, he said when he bought the Jaguars, he was going to revitalize that stadium and put hotels and all these beautiful things around the stadium. Has any of that come to fruition at all around Jacksonville?
I mean, they are building the Four Seasons right across the street from where the stadium, the stadium is right now. So that's a start. But honestly, it's not for lack of trying. They literally every single year have put in a new proposal to the city of Jacksonville to try to get something done downtown. And those antiquated individuals in politics in Jacksonville have tried their best to make sure that they don't change anything. So they're very resistant in the city of Jacksonville. They got to get those old politicians out and just kind of move everybody else in to get this thing done.
Well, yeah, but would you guys vote for those people?
I mean, I would love to get those people out, but I personally don't live in Jacksonville to make that vote. So that's up to those people that live there. They gotta do better.
Isn't there only like 6 people that live in the city of Jacksonville? Isn't that like how that works? Because everybody else, I mean, Jacksonville is a city, is a Navy city. So like really, there's not many people that live in Jacksonville, although it has a busier population than that, right?
It's a bigger population. The problem with Jacksonville is actually the fact that it's a wide city. It's the second widest city in the metro city in the United States. It's just super wide, which is why it didn't really work to have a Super Bowl there, because you don't have everything in one area. You got to drive 20 and 30 minutes to get to anything. And that's the biggest issue with Jacksonville overall, but it's not necessarily the population. The population's fine if you want to compare it to, I don't know, Orlando or Tampa or something like that. But it just comes down to people got to vote different, and I can't change that. That's the argument we've been having since the 1800s, man.
You know, you would think though, because Jacksonville, I used to live in that area, so I'm familiar with Jacksonville, and I've gone to concerts at Jacksonville Stadium and been around that area. And I would think with all the revenue that they do bring in revenue, and I would talk about that revenue that they would have actually started fixing it, you know, that area up, because it is kind of a little bit rougher area. And I'm surprised that they, like you said, with all the revenue that does come into that city, that they haven't done more to facilitate that.
Man, Jacksonville should be Charlotte. It can easily be something like Charlotte. Like, I don't think that's a crazy thought, or even Savannah, but they just don't want to do it. Like, you got the water right there. Just put the $40 million into the riverbank and repair that ground area from, you know, where the boats come in, and it'd be dope. You'd have a great place from straight to London. Shad Khan, straight to London, have your shipping lane, everybody's happy. Like, but nobody wants to do it in the politics. Shad wants to put the money behind it, then good for him. But, you know, they don't want to do it. So I don't blame the Khans. That's all on the politicians.
Yeah, it is, because that really could be a booming town down there for sure if they put the money into it. And you'd be surprised once you put the money in that coastline and around that stadium, that would draw a lot of tourism, which would then subsidize a lot of what they're doing. So you're right. To your point, I think it is those politicians. I think they're lining their pockets and not doing enough back for that city.
No, man, you are spitting. And most people don't even know they had the first rights to Disney World also. They said no to Disney World. And then Disney World was like, all right, we'll go to Orlando, which was nothing at the time. And that's where they planted their flag in Orlando. And Jacksonville could have had first rights to that too. They just keep fumbling the bag, man. But we're in Travis Hunter's Duval County now, so maybe things might be changing moving forward. We'll see.
Well, and of course, you know, obviously that's the guy we got to ask about first, right? Is you know, how's he look, but also what is the thinking of a team that could use defense, that drafts a guy that is really good at defense, but basically ensuring he's going to play offense? Like, it seems like an interesting approach.
Oh, you said ensuring he's going to play offense, so you're more confident than I am. He's going to play a lot of offense, yes, but I actually believe he's going to play more than 50% snaps on both sides of the ball. Yeah. I think they very clearly said they want to envision this like closer to what it looked like in Colorado. And if that is truly the case, he was playing 85% of snaps on both sides of the ball in Colorado. So it may not be that, but I can see 70+% of the snaps on both sides of the ball and just saying, all right, cool. Let's see what this is going to look like when his early years, when he still has the legs to do it, because he's a young man and it's a young man's game. Like,
I was gonna say,
right.
he's gonna get hurt.
And all you got to do is just get a little nick, and next thing you know, and now we're down 2 guys.
Yeah,
I actually agree with you. That was the point I made immediately after the draft. My first concern kind of went right there, but at the end of the day, hey man, that's what you traded for. You wanted to change the game and try to see what this thing looks like, to be different, to be forward thinking. Well, then sometimes that's going to involve forward-thinking risks. Like you're going to be Elon Musk, and you're going to have to blow up some Teslas to make this thing work. I don't know.
Like, he already got hurt in college playing that percentages. He's already gotten hurt once doing that, and he's a young man. You try to bring him to the NFL and keep that snap count, like you said, he's not going to last more than a few minutes in that league. I think you use him more like a Dion, or like Bo was saying, you know, you play him on defense and you do a few packages on offense like they did with Dion, and you're going to get a lot more out of him longevity-wise, right?
So all things being equal, that main injury in college was a dirty hit on a sideline. Yeah. Like that wasn't exactly like he just got banged up out there. Like he got lit up in a spot where like the play was done. So it was.
You don't think folks in the NFL are going to do that?
I'm about to say,
of course they are.
The problem is when you're doing 85% of the time, or even 70% of the time, the law of averages goes up for dirty hits, and that really is the point, right?
But no, I mean, what would have made sense to me, right, is you draft him, and then you have packages on offense, but you use him as a DB because it's a position that you guys are weak, right? Like you need more defense, right? Like you guys were fine on offense. You guys made mistakes, but you had
It
pieces.
depends on how you look at it because they did get rid of Christian Kirk. They did get rid of Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
And now offense. Well, yeah. Well, no, not later than the draft. No, they got rid of Christian Kirk beforehand. And they got rid of Davis after the fact, but there was never any expectation that Gabe Davis was going to play this season. Like that's been for at least a few months. He was never even healthy in 2024 because he had a PCL injury coming into Jacksonville. So like we never saw a healthy Gabe Davis from the start. At this point. So just pointing that out, I'll say they knew that Travis Hunter was an option. I didn't know. I felt like I got played, but I was happy to get played because it's kind of one of those gamesmanship offseason. Everybody's lying to you. It is what it is. Yeah. But they had to trade in the works for 3 weeks. They knew this was going to happen as long as Cam Ward was the quarterback. So kudos to them for playing the game and playing it right and having everyone freaking confused. But to the overall point, like you think defense is going to be worse. I'm a secondary guy, and I still don't think the secondary is actually going to be bad. They got Jarian Jones, they got Tyson Campbell back playing zone instead of playing man, which he is just not good at. And they got Jordan Lewis from Dallas, who was reportedly their best corner from everyone you talk to in freaking in the Cowboys country. So I'm like, all right, cool. You got 3 cornerbacks, not to mention you have Caleb Bransall, who's now officially going to be the NFL's fastest safety in history, which I think is just crazy that they transitioned him from corner to safety. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be interesting. All right, cool. I think it's going to be cool to have a rookie defensive coordinator kind of have all these pieces and do what the hell you want to do with it. I don't think it's going to be necessarily a problem. And if it is, at least it'll be an exciting problem to have because you'll have an offense that's going to be like, scoring 30 points a game maybe with, Travis Hunter and TJ out wide.
So if you have Hunter on these defensive packages, what are you using him as like a nickel corner then?
I think it's going to be outside corner. You're going to put Jordan Lewis at nickel. He can go inside and out. A lot of those guys, that's this whole roster at this point. They hated, you can tell they hated Trent Baalke, the OG. They hated that guy. Like, they not hated him, hated his roster build. That's what I mean. Like, all those guys were limited. All these guys can play inside out. Wide receiver, all these guys can play inside out at corner. You got a safety who used to play cornerback. You got offensive linemen who played all 5 positions across the board. They're just trying to grab a lot of guys who can do a lot of things. So if someone gets hurt, they're still fine.
No, it makes sense.
So if it comes down to it where Hunter is playing like 70% of the snaps on each side of the ball and eventually gets to the point where either his body's breaking down or they want to kind of limit snaps on one or the other, do you think his long-term outlet at this point is more offensive-minded, or do you think they're going to want to use him more on the defense?
Yep, I think it's going to be more offense. If it comes to pass where a decision has to be made, that's my guess is going to be this offense because even before the draft, the individuals around the team that they primarily viewed him as a receiver, and they thought that he would want to be a receiver because when it's time to get paid, he's absolutely going to be asking to get paid like a receiver. So it kind of just makes sense. If you're going to ask for that kind of money, I may as well just get the production out of you for 4 years at that role.
No, and that was the one thing I figured is he would have wanted to be a receiver because the price tag is, at the upper end, $10 million a year, more than a DB. So, I mean, like, I get it.
Well, but I love this guy. He reminds me of Randy Moss because I want to be very clear in saying what I'm saying. Yeah. I am not saying that, but I'm saying personality-wise, he reminds me of Randy Moss because if anybody who knows anything about Moss, all that dude wanted to do is play football and fish. That was it. He ain't talk about nothing else. He ain't want to do nothing else. And that's all Travis Hunter. That's all he wants to do. That man just want to give me my boat. My boat's going to be here in 3 days. I'm going to go fishing. He's already asking people about spots and everything else. And that's all he want to do. He just want to play football 18 hours a day and go fishing for maybe a 3 and sleep the rest.
So for shits and giggles here, we obviously know what Shohei means to Major League Baseball. He's the only two-way player. Obviously, he got paid because he's the only two-way player. Let's just say Travis Hunter gets through his rookie deal, 5 years, doesn't get hurt, continues to play 70 and 70 on both sides of the ball. Could you see the Jacksonville Jaguars then getting to a situation where not only do they pay him as a wide receiver, but they pay him as basically the first and only two-way NFL player? And if that's the case, what kind of contract do you think that would look like?
Oh, gosh, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, we're talking no one's really done that full time until, what, the 60s or 70s? I can't even imagine what that contract would even look like.
And listen, if everything happens right, and he's going to wind up being a defensive player. That's how that's going to work. He's just going to naturally wind up going defense because it's going to be a lot easier to grab wide receivers. It's not easy to grab guys that can cover them.
Are you saying from his perspective? Or are you saying from the coach's perspective?
I'm saying just from an actual perspective. I think
From
in
a
5 years,
physicality.
you're going to see him as a defensive back who plays maybe 10% to 20% of plays on offense and not 50 to 70%.
Ooh, okay. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few years. You know, I feel free. I will come back on and say, "Hey, man, you were right. You called that one from day one." Or I'd be like, maybe a little like I think just when he's younger, they're gonna try to see what they can get out of it with the sports science, with the medical staff, and everything else, and then kind of just see where it all lands. So you may be right. That's where it lands at the end of all of this. I have no idea.
This is what happened with, with
Charles
Deion.
Wilson.
With
Deion. Well,
yeah, Deion, same type of situation. He naturally was going to wind up playing defense because it's impossible, well, in his case, to play baseball and then come play football and play on both sides of the ball. And then when you stop playing baseball, we're just going to play football. We're going to play football on both sides of the ball. But it's naturally, he played defense and played a couple of plays on offense. Because realistically, it's more important to have a better defensive cornerback than it is a wide receiver. Because wide receivers, right now, great ones are a dime a dozen, but there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of wide receivers out there. That's
where I might be disagreeing just a little bit, just because I think looking at the team that he's going to changes that math a little bit from my perspective. Just looking at the fact that it's a small town, Jacksonville Jaguars, and I hate to call them small town, but it is what it is. It's not a big market. And going to that kind of organization where you might have a little bit more sway, might have a little bit more power, kind of places him in a different situation than a Deion, where Deion is kind of being a cog in that, and he's out and he's coming in with that swag. Whereas Travis, personality-wise, actually don't seem to be that guy. Just talking personality, he's not Deion. He can be if he chose to have that aura and everything else. He just seems like a little kid who just enjoying this so much and just wants the ball out. I'm just telling you what I've seen, just talking to him, just being around him. And I'm like, if that's truly the case, I feel like he's going to do whatever the hell these coaches just want him to do. And as long as he gets paid and his agent tells him, get that money. But I think he'll do it. That 50%, that 70%, whatever. It just feels like he's all ball.
Well, Deion did actually all three phases for Dallas. He was also punt returner for Dallas.
Oh, yeah, he did special teams.
Deion he was all over the place. And I got to imagine Travis will be a little bit all over the place too, to a certain extent. I wonder if he would even think about maybe doing punt returns like Deion did. I wonder if they'd consider him for that.
I don't know if you're going to put him on special teams all that much. If you're going to use him in offense and defense, there are only snaps. There's only so many snaps you're going to want him to take. You don't want him to have 100.
Well, they probably said the same thing about Deion, because Deion didn't even like to tackle. Matter of fact, Deion did everything he could to avoid tackling. So, in all honesty. So, I want
to be clear. We're having these exact same arguments in the Jaguars fan base and in Jaguars media. So I want to be clear. There's no right and wrong here. All
six people are arguing.
Bro,
really? Damn, Pag.
And I can't even say because at least they won a championship. But give us time. We're gonna catch up. I promise. We're gonna get one.
No, Travis. See, that's where you're going off the rails. But you're fully credible. You're a very credible person.
Off the rails because I say eventually the Jacksonville Jaguars will eventually win a Super Bowl. Come on.
This is coming from a Cowboys fan, so it only takes so much with it. But to
y'all won one in the history of our franchise, Lord.
See, but look at me, Travis. I'm not here saying that we're going to get a Super Bowl anytime soon. You're actually thinking you're going to get a Super Bowl.
I didn't even say soon. I just said eventually. I said one day. Man, one day eventually.
One day I might win a Super Bowl too.
Man,
I think I will beat the Eagles though on opening night. So let him know that.
Yeah, man. 2029 cannot come here soon enough. So them Eagles contracts can come to a head, and we can see what this future that franchise is gonna look like. But hey, man, enjoy it while you got it, man.
To answer Dustin's question that started this weird snowball, is he would probably get a contract similar to Taysom Hill that had crazy amount of incentives in it, but very little very little guaranteed money, right? Because they're like, oh, you might be a receiver, you might be a tight end, you might be the quarterback. So they gave him this contract that on paper looked like he was going to get $100 million. And then when you actually looked at that contract, there was very little of it that he was actually going to get. So I would bet that if he were to get some really ballooned contract because you play both sides, there would be some crazy incentives and snap count requirements to get it.
And didn't they drop Taysom Hill?
Yeah. I'm talking a couple of years ago when he signed that deal.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fair.
Well,
That really is what that's where they get you is yeah, we're gonna give you all this money, but to get this money, you've got to hit these snap counts. And that's what they get you is on the snap counts. And I think that's what ultimately will get. I know Dustin was talking about Shohei Ohtani type money, but for where it's going to get him on that end of those things, like Bo said, it's going to be on that snap count. Oh, we're not going to give you all of it. I know we thought we were, but no, we're not.
Well, and you know, Cooper Rush knows how they can dodge that.
You're damn right he does. Jerry was never going to pay that man that money.
It's the only man that Jerry hadn't paid. Man, Jerry be paying everybody.
Well, he ain't paying nobody now because we're already at the hard cap. We can't even afford Pags. If he was a super fan for the Cowboys, we couldn't afford Pags. We couldn't afford him.
thank God I ain't.
Oh, don't say that, Pags. Our fan base pays well when we actually have money.
Fan base pays what?
Well, I mean, they're definitely from Dallas, so you know Dallas has money. Don't act like we're Philadelphia. I've been to Philadelphia. You guys ain't got a pot to piss in terms of fan base. Your ownership maybe, but I've been through Philadelphia. Don't look at me like that.
What are you talking about?
What, right?
What are you talking about?
I've been through Philadelphia.
What kind of nonsense is coming out of your face, Jay?
Well, he
That man
started.
said Philadelphians are broke. Oh, man, Lord.
The money the fan base pays.
Hey, compared to Dallas fan base, look, I've been through Dallas. Them fools got money out there. Trust me, they got money out there.
You know, Dallas fans don't have any money. They buy new jerseys every other week.
Hey, that's not our. Well, that's true.
And
Damn
television.
And televisions. Why do you think Walmart has those Black Friday deals? It's for Dallas.
Listen,
fans.
they don't make a Walmart strong enough for a Cowboys fan. I'll tell you that. We can rip anything out of the wall.
Man, wow. This show took a weird turn early.
Yeah.
So what else are we seeing out of camp that you've liked?
Oh no, I mean this is rookie minicamp, man. That's all we've seen so far. Like OTAs are just getting ramped up on Monday, so we're seeing guys in shorts and underwear. Like shorts and tank tops. Like this is.
Yeah,
I ain't seeing nothing. Like I mean,
what are you watching down there in Jacksonville? That's a little funny. It's a little weird.
Mind your business. Mind your business.
Watching guys in their underwear. It's a whole different show. That might be the next hour, but not on this hour.
I'm thinking about. You're right. I'm thinking about the combine. That's fair. Yeah. No, man, they're just out there running around. Like, I mean, you're seeing all the things you want to see, just guys that look like they belong. Like, that's bare minimum. That's the floor of rookie camp. Just can guys line up and stop busting coverages? Are you catching the ball? Are you dropping it? Are you just seem like you're a freaking deer in headlights? That, for the most part, you're not getting much out of rookie minicamp on all these teams, and that includes the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, let me ask this question then: is there somebody who looks like they could come in and make some noise that is not projected to?
Oh, that's LaQuint Allen all day. 7th round running back out of Syracuse, had 40 yards, average 40 yards a game. In 2024 for them, he's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars passing down back, in my opinion. And I've talked to many people that kind of agree with that, even though we have Bashaw Tootin and Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby in that running back room. It feels like someone's going to be on the out by week 1 or worst case scenario by the trade deadline out of those 4 guys. And I think LaQuint Allen today, I haven't even seen this guy in pass. And I truly believe today he is the best passing down back on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster, just based on college film. And I don't even think it's arguable. Travis Etienne is bad. Tank Bigsby's bad at it. Like, and Bashaw Tootin's okay. So I think LaQuint Allen's going to get a lot more snaps than people think he's going to get as their passing down back. And he may even be, a good substitute as far as the goal line back also, because he's probably comparable to Tank Bigsby in that way.
So who would you say is the running back you think would be on the outs out of that group? Who do you think is riding the line?
Just had this argument with Kyle Nash last night, and we land on two different sides of the line. I think Travis Etienne, you're on your 5th-year option. If someone pops out of nowhere and gives a 4th to maybe even 5th round draft pick, I think that team would run and accept it immediately. And then again, that's before week 1 that we're talking. If they don't, then they'll just ride it out, that 5th-year option, and then just kind of do what they did with James Robinson. They'll trade him, later, closer to the trade deadline, and then they'll just kind of go with the hot hand with rookie Bayshaw Tootin and LaQuint Allen, maybe Tank Bixby. But Tank Bixby doesn't have a strong resume. I know he's a great runner for the fantasy football crowd, but he can't pass block. He struggles to catch the ball, and he has a fumbling issue. That's not exactly a great combination for a running back. That's 3 of the 4 things you have to be good at. But for fantasy football purposes, he's a really dang good runner. It's just those other things matter. So I can see either one of those guys coming out if someone has an offer, because he still has 2 years on his rookie contract left.
Fumbles aren't great for fantasy football people, though.
Yeah, Travis Etienne resolved his fumbling issue in 2022, but Tank hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Do you see yourselves where do you see yourselves now, like in comparison to the rest of the division? I mean, obviously you have the Titans that are probably going to stink again this year. That means you got the Colts and Houston, both.
It's Houston's division. Like, let's be clear, it's Houston's division to lose, but Houston has done some very weird stuff with their offensive line this offseason. I was a little thrown back. I thought that they would actually lean in and actually if they're going to revamp it, moving off of Larry Tunsil, that they were going to go and get a good tackle option, and they kind of didn't. Like, they went and got Cam Robinson, former Jacksonville Jaguars tackle, and I'm like, dude, that dude's been mediocre for the last few years.
Yeah,
I don't even know that he's better than Tunsil necessarily. Okay, that was interesting. And then they went and got Trent Brown, who missed all of 2020, most of 2024, and just turned 32. And I'm just like, I don't know what y'all doing, but if I'm a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm happy about it happening, but we'll see. And they're also going into that Nick Haley, basically Sean McVay offense. So they're going to be having CJ Stroud run more checks, because he hasn't done that in the NFL. Like, under the previous Shanahan offense, he doesn't check, from the line. So is he going to trust his offensive line that doesn't seem like they're actually going to be able to block for him? Or is this going to be let Russ cook kind of territory, and they're just going to be abandoning the run on a lot of early downs? Like, I'm just curious about what that's going to look like. But it is Houston's division for the most part. I kind of have to say that. But I could see Jacksonville making some noise and trying to upend that. Like, it's very rare that the team wins back-to-back seasons as the AFC South champion. And the Texans did it, but I don't think they did it so strongly that it's kind of out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I felt like with Houston, like you said too, when they let go of Tunsil and what they got in replacement for Tunsil, it seemed to me they might as well have just kept Tunsil. They would have had a better offense than what they revamped to. So I was totally with that.
I don't know what they're thinking. But the Colts and Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, boy, that's just who can complete a slant, who can hit a trash can from 10 yards away, because that's a rough quarterback competition right there, man. The Colts, they have a great supporting cast outside of that quarterback, but Lord, I don't know what they're going to do there.
Well, and then they brought in Riley Leonard too, right? So, I mean, you never know. Like, he might randomly win that job.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
So I do believe it's going to, the Jaguars are going to be a game above or a game below 500, and who the heck knows. But looking at how their schedule wraps up, if they win just 2 games out of weeks 2 through 7, because they open with Carolina Panthers, I just assume that's going to be a win. But if they win, before the bye week, if they just can win 3 games before the bye week, before the week 8 bye week, I think that team actually would be in the prime, playoff, legitimate playoff position. And that's not me being biased. That's just me saying, man, that's a really dang weak schedule after the bye week, but 4 games versus the Colts and the Titans. You're kind of just set up to run the gambit at that point. When the Arizona Cardinals, and it was another team that throw in there.
I just want to remember correctly. When was the last time that you guys swept either the Titans or the Colts? Right? Yeah, like you guys have
last
not
year.
swept.
They swept the Titans last year, and they swept the Colts the year before.
The Titans, but not the Colts, right? Like the Colts.
Yeah, they swept the Colts the year before.
You're counting 4 wins, and the Colts for some reason or another beat you guys all the time. Do they not?
No, Colts can't win. Colts can't win at Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's a split. Like whoever's playing at home almost always wins. It's just that's the weird thing with the Colts. If the Colts are playing in Indianapolis, they win. If they play in Jacksonville, Jacksonville wins. No matter how good or how bad either of the teams are, it's just a weird thing. But yeah, the 2022 season, I believe, was the last time the Jaguars swept the Colts. The last time they swept the Titans was last year. And it cost us the number 1 pick at that time.
Oh yeah.
Hey, at least you're not the Rams, who I was reading something that they get put in a furry convention every year that they go to.
So it happened twice. It happened twice.
A furry convention.
Yeah. So they end up
Twice
saying,
is a trend, by the way.
I need an explanation on this. This sounds sexual, and I don't understand what I'm hearing right now.
I don't know what I'm hearing either. That does sound weird to me.
So it's like mascots. It's like a mascot convention almost.
Okay.
So
It's not a mascot. No, it's a furry convention. Let's make it what it is.
No.
Absolutely, it's a whole bunch of people that look like they're mascots, except they ain't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So you say furry? You are talking about what I think you're talking about.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Cool.
And the Rams get that. So I figure maybe they're doing something to the hotel rooms if that's if on both sides.
So
if you guys can only win at home.
They've been set up in a hotel with this convention twice, and hilarious.
Oh, God. Now that was a turn on the show if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
Travis, do you feel a little bit awkward right now hearing about furry conventions?
Well, I only heard about.
Or do you feel comfortable?
Some kind of TV show before, and there was somebody, they were interviewing someone who said that they were a furry, and I'm like, this can't be what we're talking about, right? And as he continues talking, I'm like, oh no, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's what we're talking about.
Hey, wait till
I didn't know they had conventions.
Wait till you
Wait
till you go to high schools nowadays. High schools have a specific area for furries to sit in the lunchroom. They have their own little table and their own little section.
They only do that in Wisconsin.
No, they do that. They do that in the Midwest.
We have the convention, and we don't have that here.
Yeah.
I guarantee it ain't where I'm at.
That's a Midwest thing up here.
Those just tuning in, welcome to Coast at Night.
Furry edition. God. All right.
But that's it. That was funny, and I had to bring that up because I just watched that video the other day, and I'm like, I haven't been on the show.
Is there a furry convention in Hawaii this year? Like, because I know aren't they doing their joint practices or whatever in Hawaii, or their OTAs? The Rams this year?
Oh, I don't know.
No. This is only when they go to Seattle.
Yeah, this
is only in Seattle.
Yeah, so it's happened twice here in Seattle when they played during the season. So it's just fallen on the weekend that happens. We have a huge convention center, so we get a lot of weird stuff.
Sounding like it.
But what I'm getting at is that it sounds like the same situation going on, that somebody's messing with the hotel rooms every time that you guys go to Indianapolis or Indianapolis comes to Jacksonville. If you guys can't seem to win an away game.
That's interesting.
I mean, all right.
Interesting trade-off.
I was just Googling the furry
That's right. Welcome to the party, Joe.
I'm confused about what you guys are talking about. Tell them Google furries.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
yes.
Google furry conventions. It is, I did not know this existed, but this is crazy.
And when you Google it, make sure you click videos.
And you are not on your work. And you are not on your work computer. Please don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah, please don't do it on your work computer. Wow. The educational value of this show is astonishing.
So, Travis, go back to football.
Can you go back?
You guys,
Can you really go back?
you guys think that you'll make 500 this year?
Oh, 500. I think that should be the expectation. Like you got to be talking about. Well, I say 500. 500 is 9 games, right? Because there's 17 games. So you're saying are they going to win 9 games? And that's rough. Because the Vegas has them at 7.5 as the over under, and I still believe that they would at least get 8. But if you're talking 9, that can go a lot of ways.
That sounds like, because I think that's a coaching thing. How do you feel about your new coach?
I think the roster allows you that you should get to at least 8 wins. That's truly where I am. But if you're saying, do you have a good enough coach to get you that 9th? I have to believe it until I see it that's not the case, just based on what he did in Tampa Bay. And if I'm wrong there, because it's all projection at this point. So we'll see. I mean, again, I don't want to be a homer. I don't want to be overthink this thing, because again, I'm the guy that owns a shirt this team makes me drink, because they historically do. So I don't want to believe just until I see it. So I'm thinking 8 wins, which obviously does not get you in the playoffs. And if they make 9, they may have a chance of being a little scrappy wild card team. We'll see.
Hey, look, Tampa Bay made it on a 7-9 record, so never say never.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, and we're talking about the difference of one game, right? Like, you always have that one game that you shouldn't have won, and that one game you shouldn't have lost. So, I mean, you know,
and injury luck. That's the other part. But I mean, that's the big piece. But all of these AFC South teams have offensive line problems, like interior offensive line problems across the board. Literally all 4 of them. Their ceiling all depends on whether or not that they're going to be able to have just adequate offensive line play, and then the Colts have their little quarterback issue in addition to that. But across the board, Jacksonville included, they brought in 6 offensive linemen this offseason. Like they obviously knew there was a problem. Cool.
So they brought in 6 and they didn't draft any?
They brought in 4 via free agency, and then drafted 2. So they brought in 6 overall in that way. So they knew there was a problem. It's just a question of which team's going to be better early on. And I'm kind of, again, happy that the Jaguars opened with the Carolina Panthers, because at least you'll kind of get a glimpse of what Travis Hunter and with BTJ is going to look like before it really matters in week 2, which I believe is the Cincinnati Bengals. It's either week 2 or week 3. I believe the Jaguars play the Bengals.
So how bad are you going to feel when you lose to Carolina? Like, how the rest of the season is going to go?
Oh, yeah, season's over, bro. Pack it up. Like, that's it. Yeah, it's a wrap. If you open the season like that, I don't want to live through that week, bro. That's going to be crazy. That'd be chaotic.
That'd be zero fun as a media person.
Yeah, man.
How do you feel about Lawrence as your quarterback? I know he's had some injury issues in the past. How do you feel about him staying healthy and continually to try to develop into the superstar quarterback?
It's the unassisted.
We've had this conversation, and Philly Sports Guy told me I was a homer. So I'm like, this is a weird one, because I wrote an article about Trevor Lawrence's turnovers and literally broke them all down on who they follow, on whether it's the receiver running the wrong route, offensive line not blocking the guy clean, or just other guys on the team not trying to do their freaking jobs, like just basic stuff like that. And I eventually came out of that article basically saying Trevor Lawrence does have a fumbling issue, but he also has a team of guys who don't hustle to the ball, so it makes it worse for him than other quarterbacks who fumble equally as much. And his interceptions have actually improved year by year by year. It's just the fact that he still has guys who just can't catch the ball. Ball bounces off Tank Bigsby's face mask and is an interception, but it's not an interception on the freaking quarterback. Like, there's a boatload of those kind of things. So he's had bad teams to try to hold up to make them look average throughout most of his career. And at one point had Urban freaking Meyer as his coach. As you will.
He gets a pass for that one.
He does not have excuses right now. He is out. I mean, that excuse bag is empty. And fortunately, the Jaguars don't really pay him until next year. Like, he signed the contract, but he's not actually getting paid on that new contract until 2026. So this is the final year of saying, bro, you out of excuses. You got Travis Hunter on one side, you got Brian Thomas Jr. on the other, you got De'Ami Brown as your third wide receiver, who was probably be an adequate wide receiver too for a lot of teams, with 4 freaking running back options. This is it. If you can't show it with this offense and Liam Cohen running it, who just had a resurgent Baker Mayfield, like looking like a freaking boss out there, then you ain't gonna show it. Like, that,
I agree.
So
I agree.
That's how I feel about him overall. This is the time. If not now, never.
Are you saying that they could drop him at the end of the season and not have to pay him at all?
Oh, no. They couldn't drop him. They're done with the contract. But it's just the fact that the money doesn't hit the books truly until.
Right. Okay. I was confused just on how you said that. Just I was like,
yeah. Like, he had an extension, and they already had the 5th-year option when they signed the extension. So then it's just like, technically speaking, the cap hits don't start hitting the books until this year. Right. This is like him playing on his 5th-year option.
What does that contract look like? Do they have outs early, or? in case he does fall apart.
Yeah, they would have to I remember even when they signed it, I was looking at it like it's not real money in a lot of the ways that they sign these big contracts where up front they're going to have to redo the contract in 3 years anyways after he starts getting paid. So after 2026, you're going to have to redo it because there's no team similar to I guess the Dak Prescott contract. There's no team that's going to truly pay a quarterback like $60 million in a year, or Pat Mahomes contract. Like they just kind of redo it every so often. That's kind of how they're going to have to do it, and we'll see. So he's not going to seize realistically some of that money in the ways that it's kind of structured right now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, I mean, I just ask because some of these get so front loaded that it gives them some easy outs after year 1, year 2. So
not for most of the big quarterback contracts though. That's the thing, because they don't normally allow those guys to get out early because let me just take a look at the specifics.
Well, it's usually
you're looking at a $30 million dead cap in 2027.
Yeah,
that's
usually
where we are right now.
It's usually on the team side that they give themselves little outs after year 2 or 3 on some of the bigger deals.
Well, at least in 2027, that you won't get to see them because they'll be playing all their games in London because they'll need a stadium.
Wow. You mean the fact that we have a stadium agreement. You do know that, right?
No, I don't know that, but that's
okay, cool. 1.4 billion.
So they're going to build it, but it's going to take a couple years to build, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're going to play a year
in that stadium until 2028. The 2027 season, they'll be playing somewhere else. Maybe Orlando.
They'll play Orlando in 2020.
Maybe Orlando, and they might play. I believe the agreement they wrote allows up to 3 games in London that season.
I was going to say I'm surprised that the NFL isn't doing something a little bit more, like saying, "Hey, let's do a trial run in London."
I mean, would the players agree to that though? Remember, wherever you play, you got to pay taxes there. So like California people, you pay California taxes. You playing in London, all those games, you might be losing like 30% of your salary. Like you think the players will be okay with that?
I don't know. I've not been taxed over in London.
Oh, it's high. Tax rate is high. Yeah.
I'm asking. That's why I was asking. It sounded to me like it would be something worthwhile for them to try.
Yeah.
Especially since we've been talking about this for years. That they are going to be the team that goes, over that way. It would be hard for the AFC South. You can't really call it the AFC South with a team in London. But then again, we got the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. So, you never know what could happen.
We need to be talking about who needs a stadium right now. Is it like the Chiefs? I'm trying to figure out who needs it. Like, there's a few teams who need stadiums. I'm like, all right, maybe
Chiefs. Well, Washington just signed. They're going to implode RFK here any moment and build there. So, I got to imagine. Hey, listen, it's the Link is 30 years old. The Link is 30 years old, so it's only going to be a matter of time. And now, because everybody wants a Super Bowl, I tell you, the one thing that Jacksonville would have to do is, after the last Super Bowl that was there, they have to build more hotel rooms to be able to handle that.
I think they've given up on that. I legitimately believe the Jaguars have given up on even trying to get a Super Bowl because of how wide the city is, and the fact that they can't get that downtown area. I think they're going to build up like the beaches area because Shad Khan owns one of the bars and the hotels out there, and he's already started. You've seen paperwork that's kind of been floating around locally about them trying to revamp that area. So I think they're just going to want to make that the hub and just kind of stop fighting City Hall and stop fighting the politicians to make it be downtown. So I don't think they're going to ever try to do the Super Bowl. I think they're just going to aim for the draft and all the other, the extra NFL kind of things, maybe the combine, something along those lines.
Are they going to implode this actual Jaguar stadium there and build it on that site, or are they building the new stadium somewhere else?
They're building it there. They've already started the construction. The construction in this year is still going to be normal. They've just started doing construction on piping and stuff around the stadium. But 2026, they're going to have like 43,000, like a reduced capacity, doing work on the upper part of the stadium. And then they're going to just be like, all right, we're done for 2027. We're going to just have to do it all, gut everything, and build it from there. So
But they're building it through the existing stadium?
through the existing foundation of the stadium, yes. So the bottom is still going to be maybe not exactly the same, but yeah, the structure. So it's a rehab. It's a big rehab. That's
So they're not really building a new stadium. They're just rehabbing what they got.
Well, it's 70% like new, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you the cost that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It means the lower level concourse will remain, and then they're building everything above it.
Essentially.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was their
like
negotiation. That was their negotiation. That was
Sounds
their
like
negotiation
such
with
a
the
waste
city.
of
They
money.
couldn't get that 2.5 or whatever the number is $billion. And that was the give and take, because remember, the city still owns the stadium. And this isn't like those other ones where it's like it's kind of a little give and take, where the city can still make money on the different events and things like that. So
I understand. I think Tony Khan wants to do all that awesome stuff, and like you said, the city is what's really holding the Jacksonville Jaguars from being a nice organization. They're actually reducing you down to the stepchild of the NFL, because they're not giving. No, seriously, that's not a knock on Jacksonville, but it is or on Tony Khan and the organization. It's a knock on the city not giving you the resources to make that franchise better, right?
that's been the arguable point for a while for a lot of people in Jacksonville. It's they blame individual organizations, but there's a very powerful lobbying body of like local churches downtown and local people downtown who kind of just control that. They don't want that change. They don't want that modernization. That's just kind of what it is.
Do you think they don't want the modernization because of the tax hike it would bring to them, and they don't want to pay that tax hike?
No, it got nothing to do with money, in my personal opinion. Again, I can't speak to someone's motivation, but in my opinion, it's always been about people like in the old days. I mean, you can say for whatever reason, but people like in the old days, and they don't want these new hippity hoppity crazy people, you know, with their bath salts and whatever else coming into my town. I need my town to look like it was in the 70s or whatever it may be, bro. People just like things the way they are, and they don't want change.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
but
That's all for furry people.
Is Jacksonville, is the city of Jacksonville all Duval County, or is there any place other than Jacksonville?
All Duval.
So that Duval County is Jacksonville City.
Yeah, Jacksonville is Duval County.
That's it.
Duval County is Jacksonville. Jacksonville is Duval County.
Okay, that's
other people claim that are not from Jacksonville, but like you'll have the people in the suburbs around Jacksonville, they'll still yell Duval because it's kind of the championing cry now, but they're not actually Duval. They like cousins.
Got you. That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering, like, because they're going to go down to Daytona for the season. I think that's where they're going to go.
I think that's out. I think Daytona's out. I would have loved for it to be Daytona, and more. And I'm closer to Orlando.
I just read something literally 2 days ago that said that
I just
Daytona
wrote something on Big Cat Country this morning. I just wrote it this morning on BigCatCountry.com that they were supposed to vote on it on the 20th at the NFL Spring League owners meeting, and they're pushing it back to October now. And the only bids that they have are Orlando and Gainesville, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for the Florida Gators, and Camping World Stadium in Orlando. And those are the only bids right now.
You do not want Camping World Stadium. That stadium is
but they're trying to pay. They're trying to pay $11 million to the Jaguars to entice them, in addition to $400 million rehab on the stadium that they're claiming that they're going to do to try to get the Jaguars to come. So they're putting money behind it. I give them credit on that.
With all the money that they get from the Pro Bowl, they should be able to figure that out already. But
I don't disagree with you. So yeah, that's where we are right now, man. It's gonna be interesting because I would hate to have to drive those local roads to get to Gainesville, and they don't have parking at all for the college stadium. They've never had a professional team there. It'd just be odd, but if that's what they vote on, that's what they vote on. We'll see. But man, I didn't think it was gonna be an all Jaguar show. This is
no.
We don't ever talk about the Jaguars, so we're giving you as much time as you possibly can.
That's
the rest of the year there'll be crickets from the Jaguars.
I like talking all things NFL. I cover the Jaguars, and yes, I am also a fan of the Jaguars. But I don't mind making fun of all y'all sorry teams.
So the little bit of time that we do have left, there is a movie coming out that the casting is interesting. It's about the Raiders. It's John Madden, Al Davis, Nicolas Cage is John Madden. Like I heard about this movie coming out before I heard the cast, and I'm like, okay, like this sounds like this is going to be rad. And then I saw the cast, and I'm like, this is either going to be awesome or horrendously bad.
I thought Christian Bale,
Christian
what I saw,
Bale
Christian
is
Bale
Al
looked like a
Davis.
pretty good Al
Yes.
Davis. Though.
Yeah.
I think Christian Bale's on point. Nicolas Cage, I'm not so sure I'm bought in on that for being mad, but Christian Bale for Al Davis, yeah.
Oh, so I'm not worried about Christian Bale. That's why I didn't bring him up, right?
Yeah.
Like, he sells out for every role he's ever done, right? Like
Right.
he does the most ridiculous body transformations to fit the roles, and I mean, he's gonna do what he does. Cage, on the other hand, it's either gonna be good or just god awful.
Well, and that's funny to me because Nicolas Cage is exactly the same actor in every movie he's ever in.
That's
And
what
I
I'm
like
saying.
Nick. I love
He's
Nicolas
intense.
Cage.
He's intense in all of them.
No, like I'm either
In
really
Face Off, he was the best. I
no,
love him
no,
in
and that's
Face
what I'm
Off.
saying. I either really like the movie that he's in, or it's really not that very good. So this is gonna be fun to watch. I don't know. It seems like an interesting.
When is this movie coming out?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
That I
They
don't
said
know.
it's supposed to be out this month.
Yeah,
This
I know
It's
it's
supposed to
coming
be
out.
out in the month of May, more towards the end of May.
Okay, let's go.
So I mean, I will give Cage this though. He put on some weight for this role, and I mean, when you see the picture that they of Madden that they are kind of mirroring him for they're actually doing a decent job of that, making him kind of look the part. But yeah, I don't know. I
I think John Goodman could have did a good Madden. Yeah, he kind of
No.
has that build already.
he's too old for
Yeah.
he's too old for
Previous
this.
Well, yeah,
maybe.
to play a young Madden. You're right. Yeah, he would be able to play the young Madden. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there we go. He can either ace it or burn it.
Right.
That's exactly it. Sounds like it's going to be a horrible movie. I like it.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Nick Cage, and you know, we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. As Madden, no, I don't know. But he did put on weight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I mean, so like, I'm not saying that he can't do the job. I don't feel like in my head there's any gray area. It's either going to be awesome or terrible.
Yeah, I can't I can't hear the boom coming
Right.
out of coming out of his mouth. Like it's just like it's too.
The old Madden. You can't
You
picture the old Madden with him.
Did boom? Did he say boom? I don't know. I only know him on TV.
I mean, he still said boom. He may have said Brett Favre a little less, but but yeah, no, I mean, I think that's probably where it is. I'm struggling with seeing him do a good job with it. Also, is some of Madden's mannerisms. Like
Right.
I have a hard time
Yeah.
imagining him doing that because of things like Face Off and Con Air, and it just, I don't know, his movements are wildly different than the way you always saw Madden.
They're
So
very exaggerated. His movements are like, let's go.
there you go. If he can tone it down, stinker. I mean, he's not a bad actor, so that's not what I'm trying to say, right? Like,
Did you hate the unbearable weight of massive talent, where he basically played himself?
I don't think I actually
You
saw
didn't
that.
see it. Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies, so yeah, I saw that one. I saw like Reinfield or whatever it was, the vampire freaking movie. But yeah, Nicolas Cage is freaking. He's an odd cat. So
The only thing about Nicolas Cage is
I believe he might actually pull it off. I don't know.
Well,
the
and
only thing
that's
about
why I
Nicolas
say-
Cage is he has a one specific style. He doesn't have a lot of different characterizational styles. I mean, he's a very one-track guy. And I don't know if being the one-track guy and the way he acts can translate into other styles of acting to portray actor or the actual character.
I don't think he's a bad actor like that. I just think
No,
it's
he's not being a bad actor, but you are very one trick. You are very.
He says he got that. He says he got. Jay says he got one track, and you better hope that this movie is that one track, basically. All right.
I mean, we're about to find out, I guess, but.
I mean, let's put it this way: if you want to see a guy who could do multiple different styles of acting, just like you said, look at Christian Bale, look at Robin Williams, look at Tom Hanks. Those guys can do different styles.
I mean, Williams would have been hard to cast, I think, but
Tom Hanks as John Madden.
That would
I
never
don't even
happen.
know. I don't know if I can imagine that one.
No, I'm not saying he would be mad. I'm just saying, but he has different styles. I mean,
Well, we're
you
just
get a guy
throwing
that
names
does
out of
Philadelphia, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like again, I just think he's either going to crush it or it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll know about this in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, in a month.
That we will. That we will. That being said, we're at the top of the hour. Thanks for playing along with us in the comments today. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Later.
Go FurCon.
Yeah.